Okay, we're about to start. The stream should be working. Hello everybody. Let's just wait a minute or two. Hey, 3 people. I think they're more than enough to start. So, good evening everybody. We're continuing the work on the goblin creature, and today we're going to talk about ragdoll and how the ragdoll state it's implemented in Skyrim. And for that to be clear and actually to make it work, I'll have to use a tool I've made for viewing the Skyrim behavior. Let's fire it up. In other words, I'll have to copy the structure, because it's quite complicated, from an existing Skyrim behavior. Hopefully I'll be able to simplify it a bit. Let's see. We can take the drug behavior, which is one of the most extensive behaviors in the game. Let's see, drug. Okay, let's fire it. And here it is. This is a simple Java viewer that actually shows the behavior graph and, well, also the other files, truth be told, but for our purpose tonight we're going to focus on the drug and on the behavior file itself. Here you can see the drug behavior, and these values are actually almost the same as the values we see inside the tool, and that's how I firstly understood and obtained the Silt Strider behavior. This tool, by the way, it is released even if in source only distribution on my GitHub, and it is based on a simple parser I've made for the Avoc serialization mechanism. Okay, so as you can see, we have the root modifier generator for the behavior, and the drug root is actually everything related to the normal working of a creature. Almost every creature in Skyrim, every behavior related to a creature is done with this schema. You have a root node and you have different states that complement the moving turning behavior state, which is the main one, and you handle the modification to this state, to this sub behavior, for special things that modify the position, like having a weapon equipped or entering a kill move state. A kill move state is actually a special state made to handle paired animation, where the movement of one creature or the player, truth to be told, actually modify the state and the animation played by another actor, another creature, and so the behavior must be coupled for the kill moves to work. But beside that, you see that the first level of the first states of the state machine, the main state machine, is actually between the drag route, some special state like bleed out and stagger, the shout, which is used only by creatures able to shout, of course, and those three states which are special because actually they don't have animation, but some Havoc special nodes used to handle the transition from an animation driven creature and a physics driven creature, for which we use the forces and the accelerations and the constraints specified in the ragdoll. So first things first, let's see our structure for the goblin, and we have a root behavior and a moving state directly, as we need another level, as you can see here. It's probably better to do it now instead of having the problem of modifying the behavior by copying, cutting and pasting states around. And there's a useful function which is wrapped inside the behavior node. So the moving state now is actually wrapped into another state, and I think it's now time to have proper names for these states. So this using Bethesda convention, which is not necessary, but maybe for clarity is actually better to do it. Let's call this goblin behavior, and after that we're going to have the state, which is goblin root. Here we have another state which also has a root modifier generator, so maybe it's better to do that as well. Let me check. So our state machine is goblin behavior, and then we have the goblin root, and instead of having directly the root behavior, which will be this, we wrap into a modifier generator, which actually didn't go that well. Let's put it here, and I have to select a modifier, but right now we can just use an empty modifier list. Still, I'm not sure I have the desired effect, so I prefer to start over. By the way, I've right now deleted the canned turn behavior, uh, having only the backward and forward and the idle and turn state. So right now the working is just locomotion or standing, because I'm not actually satisfied on how the canned turn was implemented. Plus, we don't really have animation for that, and we saw the other time that the animation didn't have any word space movement, so even doing a special state for turning while in motion, we won't be able to actually have a good animation for it. So it's better to leave the you know the the behavior as lean as possible right now. And so our empty state is wrapped inside what is called the root behavior, and that's okay. And the root behavior is wrapped inside a modifier generator, which we can't do. So let's wrap this into a behavior node, and then wrap this add state with modifier generator. No, it's quite difficult to actually mimic this structure at this time in the day, but I'll try to do it nonetheless. So our moving turning modifier generator, this is actually more complicated. Let's just focus on the ragdoll right now, otherwise I'll try to do something unnecessary. Now save that. Okay, so our root behavior, we are in moving state, and we had to add some states. Let's put it empty right now and see what we need. We need to transition from the normal state to the ragdoll. So this state will be a transition one, and let's call it animate to ragdoll. Okay. And also, once we reach the ragdoll, we have to have a state to just stay there. So let's add another empty state, which is fully ragdoll. We'll see why we need two states instead of just one. Let's go on with the structure of the animate to ragdoll, and here we have the transition, and we'll see a fundamental event, which is ragdoll, and also we'll have a modifier generator. So let's begin with that. and that will be the animate to ragdoll modifier generator. And let's see, here we have some really messed up nodes. Let's begin with keyframe, the keyframe modes modifier. Let's see, of course we had to assign list because we have more than one modifier, and let's call it keyframe. Actually, this will be the modifier list. And now we can add modifier to that, and we need to keyframe the bones. Let's see. Actually, this is a pretty easy modifier because it just needs a modifier list, and what this modifier do is actually feed the data for which bones for the ragdoll we're going to will have to follow the animation for calculating the forces to drive the ragdoll. Will be quite easier to understand once we reach the point of simulation. And for example, for the drog, we have an index array which give us the priority also on how the bone are keyframed to the animation, and we can see the skeleton to better understand what we're talking about. You see, the skeleton, it contains a ragdoll, and there's a skeleton mapping info which relates the skeleton bones to the ragdoll bones. And here you have the order in the same way it was selected by the txt rig file we had prepared for exporting the animation and the skeleton itself. And the indexes so directly refer to the order in this, and actually the ragdoll instance of our goblin is made by only this ragdoll, which are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and we want to use them all. By the way, the Havoc tool is quite nice in presenting not only the list but also the hierarchy of the ragdoll, so as it was defined by the constraints, so we can just actually follow this order to make the ragdoll behave, I think. It would be nice to have an add all to this list. I don't even know if leaving these empty will mean for the engine to use all the ragdoll, but just in case I'm doing as we've seen from the vanilla behavior. So 9, 10. This is really boring. Okay, I know, but it must be done. Let's see if some. Now the Havoc behavior tool is not part of the creation kit, was freely distributed by Havoc before Havoc was bought by Microsoft. So if you didn't download it at the time, as I did, I think it was 2013, now you're screwed. Okay, this is it. So we have our modifier, and let's go back to the behavior, animate to ragdoll. Okay, this is a node that actually adds the drives the ragdoll. The idea is that you don't have to actually play the animation. You can also use the animation as a set of position that change in time to drive a physical body in terms of force and accelerations on the joints toward that set point. So the purpose of the ragdoll controls modifier is actually to drive the ragdoll in some position. When we see the creature assuming the idle pose, pay attention, we don't have a ragdoll really activated, and that means that once you want to use the ragdoll, you firstly have to match the position of the mesh and the skeleton, which is performing an animation. And that's how we're telling the engine to actually assume the animation, and that's why we need a state for transitioning from the normal animation state, which will be in our case the moving state, and we have to have state to put the ragdoll into the right position, then actually have a state for the ragdoll and another one to get up from the ragdoll. When things are time, let's add our modifier. Let's see how it is called here. Drive ragdoll RB. Okay, and it actually have the data, but I think that most of this data is actually the default one. For example, the duration gain, the duration to blend should be the same or not. I'm looking at another thing, which is this. Okay. So gain, acceleration gain. As you can see, the data is actually the default, and that's a shame because there's good room to improve, but for now we'll just leave it that way. And the bone array was empty for the rigid body control data, which I frankly hope it will drive the entire ragdoll. And now here we have a problem, which is a BS ragdoll contact listener modifier. We don't actually have this inside the standard behavior tool. This was a node modified by Bethesda itself. So as we did another time, we're just going to add a modifier list which will not prevent anything, and just call it as the class we'd like to have on our final behavior. So let's call it I've disabled the controls, so I can't copy it. So this will be replaced once we export. Well, ideally will be replaced, as I didn't actually have had support for these still in the tool, but I'll definitely do. And we're done with the modifiers. We can go to the clip generator, which kinda selects an animation for driving the ragdoll in a good position for then just let the uh, physics do its course. Let's put it this way. Uh, Once the ragdoll gets activated, as you don't have any force applied to the joints, it will fall down as a dead body will do. But as the ragdoll is a simple simulation of the physics and also the Euler algorithm that was used for calculating the dynamics is an approximation of the ordinary differential equation, it won't look very good. So what was done on Skyrim was to do a special animation that will start when the creature transitions to the ragdoll, and so the ragdoll itself will be driven to the position of the body in this animation, and after that it will actually ragdoll, and so it will fall, but in a kind of controlled way, because the starting point from which the body falls dead is actually set by an animation well defined. Let's do it. So we need a clip node, and that will be, let's see, obviously Oblivion didn't have a special animation for the dead, so we may use something like the stagger or the recoil. Let's use the stagger right now. Okay, so we have our driving state. This says that it will keyframe the entire skeleton and drive the ragdoll as this animation. From that we'll have another state, which is the fully ragdoll. Let's just get on with the states, and then we'll talk about the transition and the various events. You see, there's a lot to do then for making all the states transition between themselves. Here we have another special state, the fully ragdoll modifier generator. So we need again a modifier generator node, and this will be the fully ragdoll. Okay, we'll need a modifier list as usual. And pay attention, because here there's a really weird thing. Once we actually go full ragdoll, and that will be made by these event-driven modifiers, and the powered ragdoll controls modifier will be in the ragdoll state. And the way Havoc express this is to use a modifier over an animation, and the animation itself will be the starting point of when we'll have to actually get up. So why will the actual logic of going ragdoll is done by modifier, the generator, so the clip that's actually played normally, like in the moving behavior, it's a pose matching. That means that this generator, when this generator will fire and be able to play its animation, will actually try to select an animation that matches with one of a possible list of animations. And even more complicated, we want something different for the reanimate. If you remember, Skyrim has this strange effect for reanimate where there's light and dust and particle effect involved, while when you transition to ragdoll but the creature is not dead, as a result for receiving a shout, for example, you'll just get up. And so using a manual selector generator, using as we don't really know which state we want to know between reanimate and get up, because that really depends on all the game mechanics that are made by the game bureau. So we'll use a manual selector generator where we bind a variable like usual that is given to us by the game bureau engine. Once we have decided which one we will use between the reanimate and the get up, we're gonna match the position of the creature to play two different animation, one with face up and one with face down, and the same thing will be made for the both the resurrect and the get up. And these clips will be prevented to actually play until the powered ragdoll controls modifier will actually be deactivated, because until this modifier is active, and that's why we need an event driven modifier, because if we just put this modifier inside the behavior, once we go in the state, we'll be stuck into ragdoll. So we then deactivate the modifier and so proceed with matching and the get up, and that will transition to a state which actually does exactly almost the same things about reanimating and post matching, because we need to have a continuum between those two transitions. If I was playing the reanimate get up and then fire the event for get up from the ragdoll, I should be continuous. So the generator in this state and also in the fully ragdoll need to match. This is incredibly complicated, and that's why I wanted to experiment with that to see if we can achieve more simple solution. But for now, let's just get on with that. I think this stream is getting very hard to follow, partly because of my English and partly because this is really a technical part. It took me a while to understand the whole state things, and I'm still unsure of what I'm saying, but I prefer to tell you all the information I know to the full extent of my knowledge on the fact, instead of just be silent and experiment things privately before doing a stream. So our animate to ragdoll was complete, and now we have to do the entire set of the modifier for the fully ragdoll. By the way, even a state machine can fire events on enter and on exit, and we'll follow the chain of events later to better understand what I was saying. So, modifier generator, mod list. Let's prepare the event driven modifiers. It's just better if I follow the flow and then rename things once they get a function and we get to know what they're doing. Okay, this is obviously a modifier that gets activated and deactivated by an event. Now I'm curious as to this is enable or active by default. That is both true for the HKB be able to understand much if I don't make it. This is again yes. We have ragdoll control data. Let's see that. Just check that we all have the same values. Oh, that's fun. The max force here is 0. Really? Why not? Wow, this value were actually altered. Okay. Then let's see, we have the bone weights and the bone index array on the bones. have here? Nothing. Let's see the bone weight array. Also, this is actually empty. Wow, we have a word from model mode data that I didn't see on the ragdoll. Okay, we'll have to check if the generation will produce this word from model mode data, but it also has some data. So did I get the good modifier for ragdoll contrast modifier? Yes. We don't have that option here, so maybe this would have to be post-processed. And let's give a quick look at this. We can just add another modifier. Okay, and now the manual selector generator. Which we don't really need because I don't think we have animation different for reanimation and get up. So we just have get up face down and face up, so we don't need to differentiate between the manual selector using the iGetUp type, but we can just use a pose matching generator to see if we have to play face up or face down. Didn't really use much of the features here, but it's better for us. Oops. Okay. another one for okay, we must specify all 4 bone indexes, which I remember must be done, but okay, that was here. Yes. So our root bone is the spine 0. And as we have to match the pose, it's better to use at least the left upper arm and right calf. Our pelvic index, if I remember correctly, should be just the spine. Okay, yes. And magically our pose generator actually matched the death animation. So that's all for the matching generator for the fully ragdoll. And now we have to get up from the ragdoll, so we need another state. And I always like to start from 0 index array, so please use my convention. Now get up from ragdoll. Yes. How's it going, guys? I hope you're not all dead. And here we have another trick used by Bethesda. You remember to having CB animation driven variable binding inside the moving state. I don't remember if I somehow left it. I think maybe not. Anyway, this modifier is what they use for setting the get up from ragdoll is active. So this modifier actually takes care of giving these variable good value. Okay, I have a shitload of things to talk about here. Here we, as we are getting up, we'll have to keyframe again, and so we'll have to keyframe the lower body so that that will be consistent with a modifier that is used inside the drag route. Again, we're going to drive the ragdoll this time back to the animation state, plus as you can see, Havoc is capable of evaluating expressions, and I don't remember exactly which kind of condition is that, but here they define an event driven machine which is used by the reanimate in as reanimate is profoundly coupled with game biro. His only naturality is handled by Bethesda modifier. Havoc knows nothing about the difference from getting up to reanimate. Okay, and I need a small pause. I'm back soon.